Call to order the meeting of the Verona Common Council for Monday, February 13th, 2023 at 7 p.m. I will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Next, we'll have the roll.
Alderperson Cronin.
Present.
Alderperson Helmke.
Present.
Alderperson Hoaxed.
Present.
Alderperson Kemp.
Here.
Alderperson Posey.
Here.
Alderperson Reekie.
Here.
Alderperson Touche.
Present.
And Alderperson Kimmett is absent and excused.
All right, we'll move on to item 4, which is public comments. If any members of the public wish to speak, now is your time to do so. Seeing no one approaching the microphone, we'll move on to item 5, which is approve the minutes from the January 23rd, 2023 Common Council meeting. Questions, comments, or motions to approve?
Move approval.
Motion by Alder Kemp. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Reekie. Any corrections? Seeing none. All those in favor of approving the minutes from the January 23rd, 2023 Common Council meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And the minutes are approved. We'll move on to item 6, which is mayor's business. Don't have anything today, so we'll move on to item 7, announcements. Any announcements from the council? Seeing no hands, we'll move on to item 8, administrator's report. Mr. Sayer.
Thank you. Just a few things tonight. Upcoming meetings we have a park, recreation, and forestry board meeting on the 15th at 5:30 p.m. We will not have a tourism commission meeting, so we'll send out that email tomorrow canceling that. And then also for the second council meeting in February, as of right now, it looks like we will not have a quorum on February 27th or at all during that week. So we'll continue to take a look at dates for that week, but as of right now, it's looking dicey if we'll actually have a meeting that week. So more to come on that, but just a heads up on that. Regarding the elections, there currently is a statewide primary that's going to occur on February 21st for the Justice of the Supreme Court. Early voting has begun and runs through February 17th at City Hall. A quick update from the Tourism Commission is that we continue to meet on an as needed basis. The city portion of room tax collections in 2022 increased by approximately $63,000 from 2021 levels. The city portion of the room tax collected still remains about $30,000 less than it did before COVID. So we continue to show some improvement, but that is ongoing. And then finally, just for me, I know we had a large kind of wet snow event last week. I think I saw some comments, heard some comments about that. Those events, just to be clear to the public and the council, those events are very tough for staff. Those are events that occur during the day that we then operate around parked vehicles, existing traffic, cars. I know there was some displeasure just how that snow was removed in Verona and I think elsewhere around the area. It wasn't an easy one by any means. I mean, the staff put in a lot of long hours doing that, and they were up at the crack of dawn the next day also continuing to clear the streets as well. So I know some people weren't happy with that. I just would encourage people to have patience during those events. It's not easy on our staff. It's not easy on our drivers. They're doing the best they can. I think compared to other places, we do a pretty good job, if not better. I would personally say it's better, but I would encourage people to have patience, that we're trying, we're doing the best we can. In events like that, when there's people on the roads, the main arteries were cleared as quick as we could. We did have people still working that day, and we still have Epic obviously working, even though school is closed. So once again, I'm personally appreciative the staff of getting out there, putting the effort in doing that. I would just encourage the public as well. Be patient. We do the best we can. We operate with what we can from a budget standpoint and staffing standpoint. We always get to it, maybe not as fast as we all want or they want, but like I said, we're trying as hard as we can. We're putting a lot of hours in doing that. So with that, I'd be happy answering questions.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Sayer? Seeing no questions, we move on to item 9, engineer's report. Ms. Fisher.
Thank you. For the Badger Mill Creek Path Extension Project, 50% plans have been prepared by MSA and initial comments provided back. Hydraulic analysis of the bridge crossing is ongoing. Updated plans are anticipated to be submitted in late February or March. Public information meeting number 3, hosted by MMSD, will occur on February 16th virtually. The meeting information can be found on the MMSD website, and that location is actually included in the report. For the North Nine Mound Sidewalk Addition Project, JT Engineering has begun design on a new sidewalk along the west side of North Nine Mound Road from Mark Drive to West Verona Ave. The construction is intended that the work will be completed in the summer of 2023. For the Verona Ice Arena addition, construction has begun on public and on-site utilities as well as building demo and new building foundations. Public and private utilities are planned to be completed by mid-May. And for the Prairie Heights Townhomes project, construction on underground utilities has started and is planned to continue for the next month or two. Site work construction is to follow in the spring. And finally, I wanted to note that there was a public stormwater outreach event held on January 25th at the library that was on native plant selection, and that was well attended by around 40 people. And so I'll keep you guys posted on upcoming events as they're scheduled. With that, I can take any questions.
Thank you. Any questions on the engineer's report? Seeing none, we'll move on to item 10, which is committee report. First up, we have 10A Finance Committee. Alder Kemp.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I'd like to make a motion for the payment of the bills in the amount of $1,755,101.57.
Motion by Alder Kemp. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Humke. Alder Kemp.
Certainly. First, we have a payment to Bond Trust Services for debts in the amount of $572,359. A payment to AECom for engineering services on various projects in the amount of $309,636. Our payment to Madison Metro Sewage Services for their fourth quarter payments in the amount of $377,813. A payment to Minger Construction for the East Side Interceptor Project in the amount of $105,605. And a payment to the Verona Area Chamber for our fourth quarter room tax in the amount of $70,000.
Thank you for that explanation. Questions or comments on the motion to pay the bills? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of paying the bills in amount specified signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That motion passes. Alder Kemp.
Yes, next I'd like to make a motion regarding a motion for approval of resolution number 23-005, approving a tax increment district affordable housing extension.
Motion by Alder Kemp. Is there a second?
Second.
I think that might have been Alder Cronin. Alder Kemp.
Thank you. The proposed resolution will extend tax incremental district 4 for 1 year, allowing the city to use the last year of increment to improve the city's housing stock. State statute requires at least 75% of the final increment to benefit affordable housing, with the remaining portion to be used to improve housing stock. The city does have the ability to use 100% of the funds toward affordable housing if the city chooses to do so in the future. If the resolution is approved, the life of TID number 4 will extend for 12 months to use the final year's increment collected in 2024 from the 2023 tax roll to benefit affordable housing. This item requires a roll call vote.
Thank you for that explanation. Questions or comments on this motion? Alder Cronin.
I just wanted to clarify, as I was reading the background on this, that the funds don't have to necessarily go to businesses or homes that have gotten a tax credit, that we could, as a city, use that funding to create a fund where existing rental properties could apply to receive funding to do things like environmental upgrades or cosmetic upgrades to existing affordable housing.
Mr. Sayre?
Correct. There are ways you can potentially use some of the funds towards, if there are houses or certain areas that needed additional funds or improvements, there are ways you can use this. Some other communities have done that. I believe Oshkosh has done that, and there's a variety of around the state that have used this as almost like a facade grant or building improvement type fund. So that is an option that could be considered in the future.
I would be in favor of that.
Other questions or comments on the motion? Seeing no further discussion, if Clerk Licht would read the roll.
Alderperson Cronin.
Aye.
Alderperson Helmke.
Aye.
Alderperson Hoax,
Aye.
Alderperson Kemp,
Aye.
Alderperson Posey,
Aye.
Alderperson Rieki.
Aye.
And Alderperson Touche.
Aye.
And that motion passes. Next, we will, Alder Kemp.
Yes. Next, I'd like to make a motion recommending an amendment to an agreement with the All City Management Services Incorporated for providing school guard crossing services.
Motion by Alder Kemp. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Posey.
Yes.
Alder Kemp.
Yes. Since January of 2020, the city has utilized All City Management Services Incorporated for crossing guard services. The revised agreement includes a term effective January 1, 2023 through December 31st, 2023. The amended agreement is to not exceed $146,009, which is an increase of $46,388 due to staffing challenges within the program. The city staff continues to explore options that would reduce our future costs for this program.
Thank you for that explanation. Questions or comments on this motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving the amendment to an agreement with All City Management Services, Inc. for providing school guard crossing services, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. Anything further from Finance?
Nothing further, thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Next, we will move on to 10B, which is Public Safety and Welfare Committee. Alder Rieki.
I need to find the notes. I'm looking for the correct packet. Sorry. Okay. Yes. Make a motion to approve an application for a Class B Reserve Intoxicating Liquor and Class B Fermented Malt Beverage License from Aztec Taqueria LLC, doing business as Aztec Taqueria, located at 160 Keenan Court, Suite 5, Salvador Tepoyotl Daniel, agent.
Second.
Motion by Alder Rieki, seconded by Alder Touche. Alder Rieki.
Aztec Taqueria
Oh,
is
sorry,
a
one clarification. Was there a condition on that for final approval from the,
contingent upon final approval from the building inspector and fire department.
okay, and that was
Sorry.
understanding the second as well? Okay, proceed.
Aztec Taqueria is applying for a liquor license for their existing business on Keenan Court. The license will cover the inside restaurant and the outdoor patio. Staff recommends approval of the license contingent upon the final approval from the building inspector and fire department.
All right, motion before the body. Questions or comments on this motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving the application for the Class B Reserve Intoxicating Liquor and Class B Fermented Malt Beverage License from Aztec Taqueria LLC, doing business as Aztec Taqueria, located at 160 Keating Court, Suite 5, Salvador Tepoyotl Daniel, agent. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. Alder Rieki.
I'll make a motion to recommend that the Common Council approve an application for a liquor license premises amendment from Hodgepodge LLC, doing business as Hodgepodge, located at 160 Keenan Court, Suite 1, Caitlin Gibbons, agent, contingent without the addition of the bench in front of the building and contingent upon final approval from the building inspector and fire department.
Motion by Alder Rieki. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alder Touche. Alder Rieki.
So this is a request for a liquor license premises amendment to include their newly constructed patio. And the proposed hours of operation for the patio are 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., starting in March. Staff recommends approval of the amendment without the addition of the bench and with those contingencies.
Thank you for that explanation. Questions or comments on this motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving the application for a liquor license premises amendment from Hodgepodge LLC, doing business as Hodgepodge, located at 160 Keenan Court, Suite 1, Caitlin Gibbons, agent, which does not include the bench at the front entrance, and with the contingency specified, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, no. And the motion passes. Alder Rieki.
I make a motion to recommend that the council approve a change of agent request from Quick Trip, Inc., doing business as Quick Trip number 1075, located at 233 Wildcat Way.
Motion by Alder Ricky. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alder Touche. Alder Ricky.
Quick Trip is requesting a change of agent due to new management. The background check on the new agent is complete and no issues were identified. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you for that explanation. Questions or comments on this motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving the change of agent request from Quick Trip, Inc., doing business as Quick Trip 1075, located at 233 Wildcat Way, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. Anything further from Public Safety?
That is all.
Excellent, thank you. We will move on to 10C, which is Plan Commission. Alder Posey.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance number 23-1019, approving a zoning map amendment for 5.54 acres of land from rural agriculture to suburban industrial with the following conditions. The approval shall become effective upon annexation of the property, and the approval shall become effective upon the execution of the annexation. And this is located at 6878 and 6880 County Highway M.
Excellent. Motion by Alder Posey. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alder Kemp. Alder Posey.
The Plan Commission held the required public hearing on February 6, 2023, with no comments from the public. The Plan Commission voted 6-0 to recommend the Common Council approve the zoning map amendment to rezone those 5.5 acres to suburban industrial with the conditions specified.
Thank you for that explanation. Questions, comments on the motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving ordinance number 23-1019, approving a zoning map amendment for 5.54 acres of land from rural agricultural to suburban industrial with the conditions specified in the packet, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. Alder Posey.
I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 23-006, approving a conditional use permit to allow an office located at 6878 and 6880 County Highway M with the following conditions. The approval shall become effective upon annexation of the property, and the approval shall become effective upon the execution of an annexation agreement.
Motion by Alder Posey. Is there a second? Second by Alder Hoagst. Alder Posey.
The Plan Commission held the required public hearing on February 6, 2023, with no comments from the public. Comments from the Plan Commission included this is a good land use for the vacant property, happy that the applicant proactively interacted with the neighbors to alleviate their concerns, and overall support of the project. The Plan Commission voted 6-0 to recommend the Common Council approve the conditional use permit allowing the office at the address with the conditions specified.
Questions or comments on the conditional use permit? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving resolution number 23-006, approving a conditional use permit to allow for an office at 6878 and 6880 County Highway M with the conditions specified in the packet, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. Alder Posey.
I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 23-007, approving a conditional use permit for a professional office, service station, and vehicle sales and rental located at 225 Paoli Street.
Motion by Alder Posey. Is there a second? Second by Alder Cronin. Alder Posey.
The Plan Commission held the required public hearing on February 6, 2023, with no comments from the public. The Plan Commission voted 6-0 to recommend the Common Council approve the conditional use permit to allow a professional office, service station, and vehicle sales and rental land use at 225 Paoli Street.
Thank you for that explanation. Questions or comments on this motion? Alder Cronin.
I have two questions. The first one is probably a dumb one, but that's never stopped me. I did read through the information in the packet. I just wanted to confirm, when they say service station, that does not mean a gas station.
Mr. Sayre?
Yeah, so under the new ordinance, that was that definition that, quite honestly, when we had to look this up, it gave staff a little pause too. That's not a normal, I guess, upper Midwest terminology for that. So yes, it does not mean a gas station, but that is the terminology that's used, and we've noted that as something that we should clean up next time we were in there making changes. It created some confusions internally as well.
Yeah, okay, good, I'm not the only one. And the second question is, I understand right now it's just the sole owner, there aren't any employees. If there are employees in the future who would require parking, is that going to impact this site at all.
No, there's a lot of asphalt out there, there's a lot of parking out there right now. We're not concerned about that.
Other questions or comments? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of resolution number 23-007, approving a conditional use permit for a professional office, service station, and vehicle sales and rental located at 225 Paoli Street, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. Alder Posey.
I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 23-008, approving a certified survey map to create 2 lots located at 751 Gatsby Glen Drive and 812 Cheshire Castle Way.
Motion by,
With the following condition: a shared wall agreement shall be recorded with the Dane County Register of Deeds.
that's right, thank you. Motion by Alder Posey, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alder Kemp. Alder Posey.
The Plan Commission voted 6-0 on February 6, 2023, to recommend the Common Council approve the certified survey map to split Lot 63 of the Hawthorne Hills subdivision into 2 lots with the conditions specified.
Motion before the body. Questions or comments on this motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving resolution number 23-008, approving a certified survey map to create 2 lots located at 751 Gatsby Glen Drive and 812 Cheshire Castle Way with the conditions specified in the packet, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. Alder Posey.
I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 23-009, approving a final plat for Avalon Ridge located on County Highway M and County Highway PD with the following conditions. Prior to the issuance of building permits, the developer shall enter into a developer's agreement with the city. And 2, the final plat shall become effective upon annexation of the property.
Motion by Alder Posey. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alder Touche. Alder Posey.
The proposed final plat will divide 3 lots into 8 lots for the Avalon Ridge development. The Plan Commission discussed the final plat on February 6, 2023, and voted 6-0 to recommend the Common Council approve the final plat for Avalon Ridge with the conditions specified.
Thank you for that explanation. Questions or comments on this motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of resolution number 23-009, approving a final plat for Avalon Ridge located on County Highway M and County Highway PD with the conditions specified in the packet, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. Alder Posey.
I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance number 23-1020, annexing 31.996 acres of land located east of County Highway M and south of County Highway PD with the following condition: the annexation shall become effective upon execution of an annexation agreement.
Motion by Alder Posey. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alder Kemp. Alder Posey.
The Plan Commission voted 6-0 on January 3rd, 2023, to recommend that the Common Council approve the request to annex approximately 31.996 acres of land to the City of Verona with the conditions specified.
Thank you. Mr. Kleinmeyer, did you have anything to add at this time?
I can start, I guess, then Brian can jump in. So at about 2 o'clock this afternoon, we did receive a letter from the town of Verona. I think it was sent to all the council members, outlining kind of the concerns from the town regarding this potential annexation. And specifically, their concern relates to the annexation or lack thereof annexation of County Highway PD. And what they kind of point to as part of their concern is that we have not included any of that right-of-way. And the boundary agreement has a statement there that talks about potentially the entire width of that right-of-way should be annexed. This has been something that's been kind of ongoing here with the town, with their concerns going back to, I think, beginning of January. So just to give some background here, if that's okay. All right. We received the annexation petition for this project on December 6th of 2022. As part of that, we do send these to the town of Verona. We notify them. So I did send the town planner administrator an email on December 6th letting her know that we had received a petition for the annexation of the property, and they would see something from the Department of Administration, DOA, shortly. DOA is the authority of the state who reviews the annexations to ensure that they're consistent and with the public intent and good of the state. So they issue what's called a DOA letter that basically says it's in the public interest to annex the property or not. So, got a response from Sarah that said thanks. On December 6th, actually the same day, the town clerk received the same annexation information that the city received. We received the DOA approval letter on December 27th of 2022. The Plan Commission actually reviewed this project in January of 2023, and then on January 5th, I had a meeting with Chairperson Mark Geller and Planner Administrator Sarah Gaskell, where they expressed some concerns about the city not annexing a portion of this of County Highway PD. During that meeting, I explained the concerns about annexing the land, logistical headaches it creates from a law enforcement, public safety standpoint for us. At that point, I also questioned, quite honestly, why this was an issue for the town, since it was not a town road. This is a county highway. It's not a town road. And the intent of the language of that agreement was relating to town roads and not county highways. They asked me to email them a summary of the reasons why I felt that way, which I did that same day. And then on January 19th, I received an email from the town administrator planner stating that the town board's position was that we annex the entire width of the roadway. I had a series of questions that I asked to have answers to from the town. I have not received answers to those. Part of the reason I'm asking those questions is I'd like clarification of kind of what the intent here is. We still have significant public safety concerns with the annexation of this, which I'm happy to get, annexation of the county highway, which I'm happy to get into. That's a logistical mess for us, potentially with 3 jurisdictions competing in that same area if there's an accident or if there's a situation there. But I did receive a response from the town chairperson on January 31st that he had directed Sarah Gaskell, the town planner administrator, not to spend much time replying to me on this. And they offered to meet to talk about that, and at that point I stated that I would like answers to my questions. I thought they were pretty simple answers if it was talked about by the town board, that I would receive answers on those, and I still have not received answers on those. Like I said, the town's position here is that we should be annexing the full width of the right-of-way of County Highway PD. That would include 4 lanes of travel lanes out there. It would also include the starting point of where that westbound tunnel starts to go under County Highway M. Staff still has concerns with that. I think we're still open to hear the town out regarding this matter, but like I said, I don't have answers to the questions that I'd like to have regarding what the intent here is, and we have a public safety issue here. Why we're not doing this? We think our reason's pretty solid, but we're hoping to hear the town out. But this is the last I heard from the town was the letter we got today. So that's kind of the background I have. Mr. Kleinmeyer, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Sure. Well, the language in the boundary agreement said, such annexation shall include the entire width of highway rights-of-way abutting the lands annexed. The issue with that language is we already know about a half a mile or a mile away from this annexation, University Ridge and the city of Madison are on the other side of the streets, and if we were to annex any of that land that is on the south side of PD, we couldn't abide by this language because it's city of Madison. There's also language in the boundary agreement that effectively acknowledges the different powers that Dane County and City of Madison have, and it acknowledges that the boundary agreement is not intended to usurp those powers. The letter from the town chair today was, obviously I disagree with it. I think the questions that Adam has asked the town are very legitimate as we tried to get to, what exactly does this language mean? Because it clearly cannot mean what the town chair is saying, because if we annex the property across from University Ridge, we can't annex the entire right-of-way. It's also, we have to acknowledge that he's upped the ante apparently in his letter by alleging that there will be damages against the city if we move forward with this annexation, which in light of the language in the in the boundary agreement that talks about working cooperatively with each other, and that's exactly what Adam was trying to do, it's a little disappointing that he would go to that level. I will say that within, this is not something from the town board, it's from the town chair. If there is a dispute.
Say, though, that they allegedly, this is the position of the town board, and Mr. Sayer did ask when that was decided, because there's no meeting minutes or there's no meeting agenda where they talk about it, and they did not clarify that. But like, it is a position, my understanding, of the town board, right?
Correct. When I had the initial request from Planner Administrator Gaskell, she said it was the town board's position. I did follow up with her immediately on that and say, just to be clear, this is a town board position, and she said, yes, it's the town board.
Okay, I guess I was referring to the letter, which is just from him, and the letter goes on to make the reference to the damages that they may or may not seek. It's troubling. That said, I mean, obviously, one option for the council tonight is to delay action on the annexation ordinance. I think my belief is that the city of Madison's position would be that they would not want the city to annex the entire road right-of-way. I mean, I think we're all relatively familiar with that land. I think it's reasonable to expect that at some point in time, the city of Madison will annex the land that is to the north of PD that's directly across from this, in which case we would create a problem trying to annex the entire right-of-way. I think it would be interesting to know what Dane County's position is on this for all of the public safety reasons that Adam has raised. I mean, the last thing that you want to have happen is a situation where you have an accident in this area and you don't know if it's City of Madison, City of Verona, or Dane County Sheriff that's supposed to be there. My understanding is this can also create some issues for 911. I mean, there's a litany of public safety issues that you would think the town would be concerned about, but apparently they're not willing to provide the information that Adam has requested. All that being said, it may benefit the city to try to get additional information before it acts. That is an option.
I'll just add one thing, and then I'll call on Elder Kemp. Yeah, there's been a variety of things, like, I guess my position right here is this is a bad faith thing. The town, like, I could totally understand if they didn't want to take care of a piece of property, because, gosh, they're not taking care of their roads. So I would understand if they didn't want to take care of this and they wanted us to take over the maintenance costs. This is not like a material benefit for them. This is something petty and in bad faith that's going to cause a potential public safety issue. And they're doing it because they're mad about Marty Farms and they're mad about the West Madison Bible Church redevelopment. And I think this is really just, well, it's kind of shocking, but it's also just kind of unfortunate in the sense that we basically have a neighbor who's acting in bad faith, and they're so willing to try to sabotage some of these developments that they're willing to put public safety at risk. And I just don't think that's good. There's been a variety of other things. Tried to get us in trouble at MPO, which is laughable because MPO doesn't have authority over parts of the city of Verona, and they've tried to do other things, and I get that they're mad, but ultimately, we are acting within, my understanding of the boundary agreement, we're acting within it, and we're annexing land that was always meant to be in the city, and it just seems like they're just having a lot of trouble accepting that. And so I think at some point we just have to move forward if we think it's the right thing to do, and if that kind of coincides with legal advice, because basically they're not going to stop. And to me, this is very much line crossing when you start to mess with public safety. Alder Kemp.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. By and large, I've been keeping track of all these emails and reading the back and forth between the town and the city, and been trying to take an objective point of view as much as possible. I do have some concerns about, the issues of public safety, and I certainly don't think that they're interpreting or asking us to annex a part of a piece of land where we certainly can't do it. That literally makes no sense. But I do want to ask a question about, it may be pie in the sky and just an empty threat, but, excuse me, they mentioned damages, and so that kind of, puts a red flag into my head, or a red alarm. What, in your experience, Attorney Kleinmeyer, what type of damages are they even talking about, or is it just an empty threat?
Well, within the boundary agreement itself, it lays out potential damages, and the section that the town chair has referred to in his letter talks about the idea is if one party breaches the agreement and it relates to an annexation, that during the remaining term of the agreement, right now the agreement is scheduled, I think, to go through sometime in 2026, the taxes and revenues essentially generated from the annexed property, in this case, would have to be paid from the city to the town for probably about a 2.5-year period. Now, so there is some pretty specific damages language built into the agreement. I certainly agree. There is no question that the city has the right to annex this land. And the town acknowledges that in the letter. The question they've raised is essentially the interpretation and application of the sentence that they claim is clear, but from my standpoint, it certainly can't be entirely clear because we know literally just a mile away, we cannot do what the boundary agreement says. And so that means that there must be some ambiguity to the language itself. Now, the boundary agreement also requires that if there's a dispute between the town and the city regarding interpretation or application of the agreement, we have to start with mediation. And so it's not like whether it's just a threat or whether or not they would follow through, it doesn't start with a lawsuit, it starts with mediation. And I would hope, and this is part of the problem with not having the information. Adam has asked some very legitimate questions of the town to try to get to the issue here. If we end up in mediation, we're going to be walking in with public safety reasons and other arguments, and all we've heard at this point is them just pointing to one sentence in the boundary agreement. Adam tried to get follow-up information to see, okay, why is this a big deal? Are you paying money associated with this? If this was a town road, we would take it in because we know that the intent of the boundary agreement is, hey, if we're going to annex that land, then we have to be responsible for maintaining the road that's adjacent to the annexed property. As far as I'm aware, until we hear something in the town, I don't think the town is paying for the maintenance of PD. Or, quite frankly, I don't want to put Theron on the spot, I don't think the town paid any cost associated to the major intersection improvements that were made there, unlike City of Verona, City of Madison, and Dane County. And then we still have the most significant issue, which is the issues raised by Chief Dresser on public safety.
Okay, just a quick comment, then this just seems punitive to me. If that's the case, I have no problem voting in favor of this tonight. We still have the option of moving forward with mediation if that's where we wanted to go, correct?
Yeah, we could end up there. One thing that we have discussed at a staff level is if we truly need to, I would be surprised if we got to a point where the entire width of the PD would be annexed. That just does not seem to make sense. It's theoretically possible that we would annex to the center line because that's what the City of Madison did, for example, adjacent to University Ridge. So we know that, on the other side of the intersection, that if the land comes into the city, we will have it to the center line. But so one possibility is if you approve this ordinance tonight and annex the land, and if the town continues to want to battle over this, we could go to mediation. We also could look at the idea of maybe working with the property owner on our side to annex to the center line. There's different options that we may have.
But what exactly would we be mediating? They're, excuse me, you said they haven't paid anything on that area of the road.
Well, they haven't answered our questions. Those are the questions that that Adam has been asking. I think ultimately, if we ended up in mediation, they would be taking the position that we violated the boundary agreement because we didn't annex the full right of way adjacent to this property, and we would be walking in the door saying, hey, here's why we didn't do it.
All right. Thank you. I'm in favor of voting for it. Thank you.
Other questions or comments from the council on the motion? Seeing no, Alder Posey.
I'll just add in that I think at this point with our reasons for the public safety side, I recently actually had a conversation with someone who had a police issue called, not ours, but another area, and they basically said yeah, we're not sure depending upon which side of the road and this and that. And so for the residents, it's really frustrating for them. And so I think we need to keep it clear. And this was my biggest question, having received the letter, as far as what happens and why and what is the purpose of this, and hearing that this is what I thought was going on, having been sitting in all this for a while now. But yeah, I would be okay going forward with it and going into mediation, because I have a feeling if it doesn't happen on this one, it's going to happen on something else. So, yeah.
Alder Touché.
So let's say we approve this tonight, but then we hear back and kind of realize, well, okay, we can annex to the middle of the road. Is that something we can amend and add later? Or does approving it tonight prevent that kind of middle ground finding?
Well, okay, so annexation is a little unique, and I will try not to go too much into the weeds, but effectively, we can only act on the annexation that's before us right now. We don't have the authority to, for example, amend it. There's three options. One is, okay, if it's approved tonight and then it turns out we need to do something different, we will likely need to work with the property owner to file a kind of a new annexation that would bring in whatever portion of the road right-of-way is decided that should come in at that point in time. It would be, for lack of a better term, an addendum annexation, effectively.
Okay. So we have an option if things get weird.
Yeah, again, I don't know how weird it may get with the town. They may still say, but that initial annexation violated the agreement. I don't think that would carry any weight, hopefully, if we ultimately did bring in some of the road right away. I also think that it's going to be interesting. I'm sure that the city of Madison and Dane County would have an opinion on this, too. And I think that they would both be in the same spot as Chief Dresser, which is we want to make sure that this is the most reasonable approach from a public safety standpoint.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments on the motion? Alder Posey.
Does this cause any issues with project timeline and that side, or is it just simply that we would end up, worst case scenario, the damages that we've already discussed would kick in?
I think you just hit it. I don't think this wouldn't impact the development because, again, no one's challenging the actual annexation of the land. It's just the fact that the road right-of-way has not been included. So I think it is effectively, well, if we did ultimately end up in court and if we did lose, we also have to pay their attorney's fees. So that's essentially worst-case scenario.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments on the motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving ordinance number 23-1020, annexing 31.996 acres of land located east of County Highway M and south of County Highway PD with the conditions specified in the packet, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. Anything further from Plan Commission?
Nothing further.
Excellent. We will move on to 10D, which is Public Works, Sewer, and Water Committee. Alder Touche.
Thank you. With that, I am making a motion to approve project closeout and change order number 8 for project ID 2018-108, East Side Interceptor Replacement.
Motion by Alder Touche. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Humke. Alder Touche.
Thank you. Minger Construction has completed the project and provided all documentation to close the contract. Change order number 8 for the project is to close out the contract and rectify as-built quantities. The notes are to follow. The original value was $7,761,804.60. Previous change orders were an add of $313,594.70. Change order number 8 has a deduction of $145,545.91, bringing the total contract value to $7,929,853.39. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on the project closeout? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving the project closeout and change order number 8 for project ID 2018-108 East Side Interceptor Replacement, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That motion passes. Alder Touche.
Thank you. Next, I'm making a motion for approval for a traffic signal maintenance agreement with Dane County Highway and Transportation Department.
Motion by Alder Touche. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Kemp. Alder Touche.
This agreement with Dane County Highway and Transportation Department is to cost share signal operation and maintenance costs for traffic signals located along the county highway system within the adjacent to the city of Verona. City attorney has reviewed the contract and has no concerns.
Thank you for that explanation. Questions or comments on the motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving the traffic signal maintenance agreement with Dane County Highway and Transportation Department, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And the motion passes. Alder Touche.
Thank you. I am making a motion to approve a storm sewer easement with the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources and Dane County for Ice Arena Expansion Project, contingent upon city attorney and city administrator approval.
Motion by Alder Touche. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alder Humke. Alder Touche.
The Ice Arena Expansion Project requires an easement to facilitate the installation of storm sewer necessary for the project through lands owned by the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources and by Dane County. The city is the guarantee of the easement, as they are the owner of the property the Ice Inc. resides on. Therefore, we will be the owner of the storm sewer. The storm sewer will connect to the newly constructed Lincoln Street Stormwater Management Facility. 2 documents are required for this project: a stormwater line easement with Wisconsin DNR and a permanent storm sewer easement with Dane County. The fees for the easements from the Wisconsin DNR is $500, plus recording fees for the documents. Ice Inc. has provided the check for the fees payable to the Wisconsin DNR. There's no cost for the Dane County easement. Thank you.
No cost is good. Motion before the body. Any questions or comments on the motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving the storm sewer easement with the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources and Dane County for Ice Arena Expansion Project contingent on the city attorney and city administrator approval, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That motion passes. Alder Touche.
Thank you. I'm making a motion to approve the service agreements with AECom and D'Onofrio, Kotke and Associates for project ID 2023-105, East View Road reconstruction. The D'Onofrio agreement is not to exceed $22,500, and the AECom agreement is not to exceed $71,880.
Motion by Alder Touche. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alder Humke. Alder Touche.
These agreements are for survey, design, permitting for the road and utility reconstruction projects, and that's essential, and permitting. Thank you.
Motion before the body. Any questions or comments on this motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving the professional services agreement with AECom and D'Onofrio, Kotke and Associates for project ID 2023-105, Eastview Road reconstruction in the amounts to not exceed as specified in the packet, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. Alder Touche.
Next item, I'm making a motion to approve a professional services agreement with AECom for project ID 2023-106, 2023 stormwater services, not to exceed $75,690.
Motion by Alder Touche. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alder Humke. Alder Touche.
This agreement is to perform a lot of tasks for the city. I'll try to be brief. Stormwater permit applications, attending meetings, assisting the city in necessary stormwater elements from regulatory agencies, perform dry weather monitoring, investigation and reporting, update erosion control and stormwater management ordinances, stormwater permit information and education. They do 4 presentations a year for us. Prepare an annual report. Also provide best management practice, inspection practices for public and private agreements. Also perform water quality studies and do EC/SWM permit tracking. That is all.
Motion before the body. Any questions or comments on the motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving the professional services agreement with AECom for project ID 2023-106, 2023 stormwater services, including the not to exceed amount as specified in the packet, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And the motion passes. Anything further from Public Works?
That's all for tonight.
Excellent. We'll move on to 11A, new business. We have a discussion and possible action regarding the annexation agreement with Cascade Development / West Madison Bible Church and Psalms Partner for the development of land located on County Highway M and County Highway PD. Mr. Sayer.
Thank you. The proposed annexation agreement is with Cascade Development, West Madison Bible Church, and Psalm Partners for the annexation of approximately 32 acres of land located east of County Highway M and south of County Highway PD. The agreement includes language discussing anticipated infrastructure, utility, and transportation improvements. Both city staff and the parties included in the agreement are comfortable with the terms of the agreement. Staff recommends approval of the annexation agreement, subject to final review by the city administrator and city attorney.
Thank you for that explanation. Questions, comments, or motions on this item? Or motions? Alder Cronin and then Alder Posey.
Did you have a question, Christine? No, I just. Okay. I would like to make a motion to approve the annexation agreement with Cascade Development, West Madison Bible Church, and Psalms Partners for the development of land located on County Highway M and County Highway PD, subject to the review of the city administrator and the city attorney.
Motion by Alder Cronin. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Posey. Motion before the body. Questions or comments on the motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving the annexation agreement with Cascade Development, West Madison Bible Church, and Psalms Partners for the development of land located on County Highway M and County Highway PD, subject to final review by the city administrator and city attorney, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. Now we'll move on to item 12, which is old business, discussion and possible action regarding the city administrator recruitment. As you might expect, we have made progress in our recruitment, and there are some things we need to discuss in closed session. So unless anyone has any questions in open session, a motion to go in closed session regarding this topic would be in order. Alder Posey.
I'd like to make a motion to go into closed session for discussion and possible action regarding the city administrator recruitment. The Common Council may convene in a closed session for discussion and possible action regarding recruitment of a city administrator as authorized by Section 19.85, Parent 1, Parent C of the Wisconsin statutes to consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee subject to the jurisdiction or authority of the city of Verona. The Common Council may reconvene in open session to discuss and take action on the subject matter discussed in the closed session.
Motion by Alder Posey. Is there a second? Seconded by Alder Cronin. Motion before the body. This is, of course, a roll call vote. If clerk clicked and read the roll.
Alderperson Cronin.
Aye.
Alderperson Helmke.
Aye.
Alderperson Hoax.
Aye.
Alderperson Kemp.
Aye.
Alderperson Posey.
Aye.
Alderperson Rieke.
Aye.
Alderperson Touche.
Aye.
And the motion passes. We'll be in closed session as soon as we get the room cleared and the doors closed. Thank you. All right, it is 8:48. We are back in open session. The council had a productive discussion regarding the city administrative recruitment, and we expect to have more to say at the March 13th council meeting. Any other questions or comments on this item? We'll move on to item 13, which is adjournment. A motion to adjourn being ordered. Motion by Alder Touche. Is there a second? Seconded by Alder Humke. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And we're adjourned at 8:48 PM. Thank you, everyone.